The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to RM Hive, and you're tuning in to Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. I'm your host, Revan, and today we have a very special guest, a very talented man, the author of 10 Days Off The Tabloids. Let's all welcome Dave Pannone. Hello, Dave. How are you? Thanks for joining us today.
Good. Nice to see you.
Me too. I'm very excited for this because we have your book, 10 Days Off The Tabloid, which is so interesting. But before that, let's introduce you to our viewers first. So who is Dave Pannone, and can you tell us a little bit about your writing journey?
Well, Dave Pannone is in upstate New York, and I've always been interested in writing, but it wasn't until recently that I had the idea and the opportunity to come up with a book or two. I spent most of my life as a teacher. I taught in high schools. I coached a few different sports, swimming, basically. I taught at a college for 12 years, a nearby college in Elmira. And it was after I got through with those, I retired 3 times, I decided to try and write a book. And it was a mixture of my experiences and my perhaps ideas, thoughts. What if? Thank you. So I have 4 grown children, pictures of them behind me. And
oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And now my wife passed away a couple of years ago. And so I have some time to do the writing.
Okay.
Anything else?
So I have questions here for you. So
Good.
this is for viewers as well to get to know more about you and the book. So you have a very interesting title of the book. You have 10 Days Off The Tabloids. That actually interests me as well, because 10 Days Off The Tabloids. So how did you arrive with that title, and what is this book about?
You know, when you're in the grocery store at the checkout counter, at least where I go, there are these magazines and tabloids, newspapers, and you see the same movie stars and celebrities there quite often, week after week after week, and we hear about their successes and failures and problems. Well, the idea struck me one day. There was one particular person that I thought of as, one day she wasn't there. So I came up with a story. What would happen? What if? And she was off the tabloids for 10 days. She wasn't there anymore. What happened to that person? Well, I made up a story about that.
Ooh, that's really interesting. So can you walk us through what is this book about? I have read a little bit about this and I'm so intrigued.
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with what I know, my personal life, and I just threw in some what ifs. It's about a retired college professor that goes to visit a relative out west on the West Coast and ends up in a boating accident, and he's with this young lady who happened to be one of the guests on this large, ritzy, elegant craft that sunk off the coast of California, and they're together for a period of time, and they have some adventures, and they grow to help each other, and that they grow to be friends, or pretty closer than friends. And the story kind of wrote itself. Because I kept
Uh-huh.
saying, what if this happened? What would someone do if they were at sea and didn't know how to fix a capsized boat, or didn't know how to confront the evil people? What would be your choices? So that's the
Mhm.
story.
Wait, is this book fiction or non-fiction?
Well, maybe I don't have a. Maybe I do have a good imagination. Maybe I don't. A
Uh-huh.
lot of it has to do with my own experiences. Boating, capsizing. There is a trick to get
Yeah.
water out of a boat, and that's included in the story. Um, like I said, it's a retired professor, college professor, which I know about, having been one. And
Yeah.
it tells about, I included a lot of things that happened in my life. Well, there's interesting stories about boot camp. There's a couple of funny stories
Uh-huh.
there, and stories about my college students. That's pretty amusing, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the ideas came from. I kept throwing in, what if, or mix this idea in.
Yeah.
So it's
That's actually
really,
interesting.
I
Yeah.
better say it's nonfiction.
It's like fiction and non-fiction together. Correct? So it's like
Absolutely.
a
Yes.
story with a very strong influence from real life happenings.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just because I've read some of the characters about that, and the main character is actually a professor, just like you.
What
And
if,
he also told a story about a boat capsizing. So I was asking, is this fiction or non-fiction? So I was interested in that.
yes. Yeah, the protagonist is based on a character who might be like me, and the female protagonist is kind of based on one of the famous Jennifers of Hollywood.
Mm.
There are five different ladies in
Uh-huh.
Hollywood, famous actresses. They all have chosen the name Jennifer. Next time you read the book, you might try to figure out which one is more likely, which of the famous Jennifers
Oh,
is more likely to fit in
yeah.
that lead lady of
Yeah.
the book.
Hmm. So for all our viewers out there, if you're interested in 10 Days Off the Tabloids, and if you want to know more about the character of Jennifer, so who is this Jennifer based on from the five Hollywood Jennifers that we know? So we just have to dig into the story and get to know who this Jennifer is. So it's kind of a
Right.
mystery, which really also inspires me to read this as well.
Just based on that, what if? Again, that
Yes.
character, that person. What if she were there?
Yes.
What would she do?
Yeah, what if? Yeah, love that. I love that.
And the male
Yes.
protagonist, based on the character of a retired professor, is not always right. He makes several mistakes. So,
Yes. That's that's making the story more interesting
right.
because nobody is perfect when it comes to protagonists, and it makes the story even more interesting, even more compelling for us, especially me, because I read stories with protagonists or characters that are not that perfect as well, so they make mistakes, so it makes the story more enjoyable to read. So
I
kind of
think
excited
so.
about this.
Yes,
Yeah.
you might say, well, that was a foolish thing. I would do this. And
Yeah.
what if?
Yeah. What if I did that? What if I did
Right.
this? Yeah.
But if you were at sea and the lifeboat were capsized, how would you get the water out? There's a trick to
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yes, that's really interesting as well. So, Dave, has this book drawn any attention since you wrote it?
Well,
And can you share a little bit about it?
I don't know how anybody would pick out the book, but some people did. According to Amazon, what I get from Amazon, um, 25 to 50 people have bought the book. Well, I don't know why. They can't see the cover, uh,
Mhm.
but they bought the book. Even more interesting is they took the time to read the book. And then after having read the book, they took the time to report back to Amazon. And thank
Mhm.
goodness they gave it a 5-star rating. I've never done that. I've kept my opinions to myself about what I've read, but these people I thank them, wrote back to Amazon, contacted Amazon and said, this book should have a 5-star rating, which pleases me a lot. I'm glad.
Yeah. You know what? Because it maybe because of how you started the story. I've actually read the sample on Amazon, and what actually interests me is that there's a line there saying nobody knows where she is except me. So you're already saying a mystery in the story. So I really love that line over there. So it's on the first page on the first chapter, and it makes me want to read it more. So I'm actually looking for a copy here if we have a physical copy here in the office. So
I hope you
yeah, still
enjoy it.
looking. Yes. And for the audience that we have right now, so this is the book cover. The book is called 10 Days Off the Tabloids. And you have this book cover here. So, you know what, Dave? The book cover is so interesting. So, do you have a story about it? What was the story behind this cover?
Well, I wanted to make a cover. I had the idea of what it should show, but it was my good friend, an artist friend of mine, Ron Dixon, who created this cover. Lovely job, and
Mm-hmm.
it depicts. It's an important part of the book. It's maybe 10 or 15% of the book. Is one of the first big problems that these two people have in the book is uh, securing their own safety and life while they're at sea in a capsized lifeboat. And that's what's on the cover, a capsized lifeboat. And if you've ever
Mm-hmm.
been in a boat on a lake or a river or even in the ocean, once it's filled with water, it's very difficult to get the water out. You tip it one way and it refills another way. Well, there's a technique to that, and they come across it and do it. Then
Mm-hmm.
they're at sea in a lifeboat, and they have an adventure there, and then they get to a land, and there's more adventure. So I kept saying, well, what if? And some of the things could have happened uh, in the
Mm-hmm.
story that could happen to somebody. She happens to be one of the most famous actresses in the world. He happens to be some unlucky uh, retired professor type person,
Mm-hmm.
and they meet. They're together. They have to make things work together,
Yes.
which is one of the problems. And then when you think they're safe, they're not. Some other problems occur. They meet some very bad people, and they have to
Mm-hmm.
survive through that. And there is a
Mm-hmm.
love factor there. There's a love factor. You spend that much time, that important amount of time with someone, you become very close. So there's that factor.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes. And I want to give a time to look at this cover for our audience. Look at this cover. For me, it actually tells a story already. So at first, I did not read the summary yet. So I was like, maybe this is like Titanic when both of them are actually at the sea. But then I read the summary and the sample, and it's so interesting. Like there's a lot more to it. So there's a story and the title as well, but there's a lot more to it. And it's like an adventure. It's an adventure that I really would. It's like watching a movie, by the way. So, like a movie. Can you imagine yourself in the cinema and you're like this with your popcorn and I want to see that as a movie as well. So really good
I
title for that.
wonder
Really
when I don't know if everyone's mind works the same way, but as you're reading a book, you're picturing what happens in your mind, and
good. Hmm.
this cover of the book gives them a picture to start with, and then after that, as you read the book, you can picture all kinds of uh, people or circumstances, and I think when you're reading a book, you would say, "That's what I would do," or "I wouldn't do that," or "Why would he do that?" or "She do
Yeah.
that." But that's what
Yes.
I think happens as you're reading a book.
Yeah. Love that. So, what inspired the idea for writing this book?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, Years ago, I took a course in creative writing, but I never wrote a book. But it was going through the grocery store, looking at those tabloids, one day I said, I haven't seen that woman's picture, that star, in 2 weeks. I wonder what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just took some of the things that happened to me and put those two ideas together and came up with more. I think as I kept going, the story, in my opinion, wrote itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kept saying, what if this happened? Well, I would do this. Oh, I'm not good at that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what right.
So, by the way, because this book is really interesting me a lot. So, do you have other books that you are preparing for the audience as well?
Well, I have one that I have to get to a publisher. I haven't had it published yet, but it's called, it's a pretty biographical. Uh,
Hmm.
Hopefully people in Utica would buy it. It's called East Utica Tales. It's stories of my
Hmm.
adventures or misadventures as a young man growing up in Utica, New York, and how the ambiance was, the neighborhoods, the schools, the area was once upon a time when I lived there, many years ago. East
Nice.
Utica Tales.
So that's East Utica Tales coming soon from
Well,
Dave
I hope so.
Pannone. Yeah.
Have my good friend, my techie, that will uh, email that to a publisher pretty soon.
Yes. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to give you this time. I'm going to give the stage for you to promote your book. You can show your book on the screen and then show us where we can find it.
Thank you. This is the book, 10 Days Off the Tabloids, about a young lady who's always on the show, always on the newspaper, and for 10 days she's not there. And this book describes some of her adventures and his adventures. That's what the book's about, and it's available on Amazon. If it were in an airport kiosk, I think you would look at this cover and pick it up. It's quite an adventure. 5 stars.
Yes, nice. Once again, that's 10 Days Off the Tabloids by Dave Pannone, available on Amazon for you guys. If you want to check it out, just go to Amazon, check on Dave Pannone and his book 10 Days Off the Tabloids. And
Yeah.
David, it's been an awesome time with you here at Readers Magnet's featured author interview. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your help. Thank you.
Yes. So, guys, let us open the pages and unravel the secrets of your personal odyssey. And I believe that your ink never runs dry. So, go tell your story, you storyteller. And this is your host, Revan. And as we say it here at Readers Magnet, we share your story with the world. Bye now. Stay awesome.